Coming up on Food for Thought, we'll be making chicken cacciatore.
Say, what is this?
It's a meal just about everyone will love, so get a good look at it. Our production crew is ready to tear it up.
Tell the chef the master has arrived. I want to eat.
Everybody has to eat, but not everyone knows how to cook. To help solve this crisis, Food for Thought will show how to make some easy meals that are quick and cheap. Now, we don't promise that our meals will return you to your high school playing weight or that they'll help you squeeze back into a size 8 dress, but they will taste great and you will have fun making them. Each episode was produced with the help of the Hospitality Management Department at Montgomery College and the Marriott Hospitality Center on the Rockville campus. Food for Thought is an MCTV production. You can view this program and many others anytime on our YouTube and podcast sites. Okay, so you've had the appetizer. Now for the meal. Let's gather the ingredients and start cooking. All right, chicken cacciatore, a fine Italian dish. Incidentally, cacciatore is Italian for hunter. In cuisine speak, alla cacciatora refers to a meal prepared hunter style, often with tomatoes, onions, mushrooms, herbs, and sometimes wine, among other things. Now, the ingredients you'll need for this recipe are 1 green pepper, 30 ounces of spaghetti sauce, also known as pasta sauce, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, or cumin if that's how you want to pronounce it. However you pronounce it, it still tastes the same. 1, 2, 3, 4 chicken breasts, and 1.5 pounds of pasta. In this case, we're using rotini. It's the corkscrew-looking one in case you don't know your pastas. And 4 ounces of red wine. Our wine of the day is Rojo Tape, a fine Bordeaux. This happens to be one of the more popular of these ingredients.
My folks don't like it a bit.
Well, if they don't like it, they can leave it out. This recipe will give you approximately 6 servings, and we'll give you the complete nutritional breakdown at the end. When you go to the grocery store to get these ingredients, be sure to thank all the good people who are working hard to make sure your shopping experience is indeed a good one.
Thorough preparation is a mark of every good checker. When the day begins, Miss Jones is ready.
Okay, when you get home, the first thing to do in the kitchen is wash your hands. Use soap and rub your hands thoroughly on the tops and bottoms. It should take you about 20 seconds. An old trick is to sing happy birthday to yourself twice. Warm water is best and use plenty of lather. Towel dry with a new paper towel and then use it to turn off the water. Now you're ready to handle foods. It's also a good idea to set out all the materials before you start. That way you won't be wasting your time later on trying to find stuff. We've double-checked our recipe and now it's time to get the chicken ready. We're using boneless chicken because it'll save us a few minutes on cutting. Any questions so far?
Can someone explain to me the function of one of the basic parts of the electric motor?
No, this is a cooking show. Check out our programming schedules for shows on engineering. Now for a food safety tip. Do not rinse off your chicken before using it. Researchers have found that customers who rinse off their chicken meat usually splash bacteria all over the sink, faucets, and countertops. Yikes! So even though most of us were taught to rinse our poultry, do not. Pop quiz. What's the most likely contaminant in chicken raised on large-scale American farms? The answer? Campylobacter. You thought it was salmonella, didn't you? Come on, be honest. Salmonella is always a concern, but did you know that well over half the chicken you buy in stores is covered with the bacteria known as Campylobacter? Not cooking your meats and poultry thoroughly can make you ill enough to require a house call from the doctor.
Doctor, I'm so glad you've gotten here. Jimmy's terribly sick.
No, don't you worry. Let's have a look at him.
It's an outrage. A man isn't safe even at his own dinner table.
It is an outrage. But the truth is, Campylobacter is one of the main reasons why we have to cook our meats and poultry thoroughly. If you do, there shouldn't be any risk. Okay, back to the recipe. Trim off the excess fat on the chicken. Some people like to leave some fat in because of the flavor, but we will not. Choose a non-porous cutting board to reduce the risk of getting bacteria into the surface of the board. This is a situation where you don't want to use a wood cutting board. It gives the bacteria a place to soak into, and that's not good. When you're done, you'll want to carefully wash your knife, cutting board, and hands all over again, since you've been working with raw chicken. In this case, using hot soapy water is important. If your cutting board is heat stable, put it in the dishwasher. A good knife hates the dishwasher, so just wash it well by hand, dry it, and store it for future use. Preheat a griddle pan on medium heat for a few minutes. The pan we're using isn't big enough to fit all 4 chicken breasts, but we can do a couple at a time. You can also use an indoor cooking grill made famous by a retired boxer. But why endorse someone's product when you're not getting paid for it, right?
Well, that's dirty crook. We can't get away with that.
You can test to see if the pan is ready by adding a few drops of water to it. If the water bounces around, you're ready. Add the chicken breasts and let them cook. You're welcome to add a bit of olive oil to your pan to discourage sticking if you'd like. Olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats, which are very, very healthy. Turn the chickens over as the sides get done. What I really need is a lid to speed up cooking, but since we don't have one here, we can add a sheet of aluminum foil. It's always good in a pinch. Cut a small sliver and look inside to be sure that they're cooked all the way through. Now, the best thing to do is to use an instant read thermometer. They can cost anywhere between $5 and $10 at a local grocery store and are easy to use. Plus, they're kind of cool. They'll give you factual data on what the temperature inside the food is, so there's no more guesswork. You'll know exactly when it's done. Be sure to turn it off when you're finished or the battery will be dead the next time around. Cook the chicken until the thermometer reads 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. If they aren't done, just keep cooking. Always check at the thickest point of the chicken breast. Once they're done, take them off. Okay, now it's time to prep the green pepper. You'll want to wash and wipe it off for a few seconds. Using a clean knife, slice off the top of the green pepper and pitch the top. Remove the pulp and its seeds and pitch them too. You'll want to carefully remove the white parts within the pepper because they taste bitter. All we want is the green part. While we're doing this, we're also cooking the other 2 chicken breasts. Simple multitasking is fine in this case. Just keep a good eye on anything being done on a stove. Cut the green pepper into long strips, then turn them around and cut them into smaller pieces. Since there's a lower risk of bacterial contamination from washed vegetables, using a wooden cutting board is A-OK. The pieces of pepper don't have to be evenly cut. You just want them bite-sized or smaller. When you're done, put them into a large pan. In this case, a pan that would seem too large because you'll be adding everything else to it by the time you're done. Don't get distracted. Check the chicken. At this point, we can go ahead and start boiling the water for the pasta. If the chicken gets a little blackened, that's okay. But remember to still test the temperature with an instant read thermometer. The chicken has to be cooked all the way through. When they're done, put them with the others. Wash the utensils you use while cooking the chicken breast. They were in contact with the chicken before it was cooked. Now that they're all done, cut the chicken breast into small bite-sized pieces. This is another point where you'll want to be checking to make sure there are no pink areas. Pink is bad. If the chicken just came off the stove, it will be much easier to cut than if it sat for a few minutes. A large cutting knife and fork will make this easy. Our pot of water is now boiling hot. So now we can add the pasta. Slide the dry pasta in slowly to cut the risk of the water splashing or spilling. If you stir it now, you'll help separate the pasta so it won't stick to the bottom of the pot or other pieces of pasta. Be sure to keep stirring it again and again, several more times as it cooks. Set a timer for 7 minutes if you want to cook it al dente style. Pastas may vary as to time, but check the box. A lot of times they'll have it listed. When the 7 minutes are up, check the pasta, and if it's done, drain it and set it aside. Pour 3 tablespoons of water over the green pepper in the large pan. Take it to the stove and saute it on a low heat for a few minutes. Stir it continuously so that it doesn't stick or burn to the surface of the pan. Careful not to make the pieces soggy or saute the nutrients out of them, but you will want them a little tender. You will notice the color will begin to pop out more. When the water is dried, you're pretty much done. Measure off 30 ounces of pasta sauce, a little more or less depending on your preference, and pour it on the green peppers and mix it around just a little. Using a pasta sauce that's rich with tomatoes will taste great. And speaking of tomatoes, here's something to nibble on. The red color of tomatoes is due to a natural chemical called lycopene. It turns out that cooking tomatoes concentrates this chemical. This is a good thing because diets rich in lycopene are associated with lower risks in cancers. In women, studies have shown lower risks of breast cancer. In men, lower risks of prostate cancer. This means that cooked tomato foods, including ketchup, are extremely good for you. Just don't spill them on your clothes. That stain's pretty tough. Back to the meal. Okay, now the most popular ingredient, red wine. Measure off 4 ounces, maybe a pinch to grow an inch, and pour that into the mix. Measure off 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and sprinkle it over the mix. Measure off 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, or cumin, and sprinkle it into the mix. Now add the pasta. If it's a little bunched up, that's okay. You're going to mix it all up together anyway, and when you do, it'll be fine. Now add the chicken breast. Using a deep pan originally for the green peppers now makes a lot of sense as it's filled up now. Set your stove to a very low heat, and you're going to simmer the entire mix covered for 20 minutes. Check it and stir it so that it cooks evenly and doesn't burn. You'll be doing this continuously over 20 minutes. Starting to look pretty good there, huh? Keep stirring it a lot so that everything gets evenly cooked and evenly covered. Time's up. Turn everything off and get it ready to serve. And don't forget to clean up the kitchen. This recipe will provide about 6 servings. A good tip is to serve it on small plates. This sort of tricks your mind to prevent you from overeating. That's some pretty good looking chicken cacciatore, don't you think? All right, as promised, here's the nutritional breakdown for the chicken cacciatore recipe. Per serving, we have 245 calories, 35 calories from fat, 3.8 grams of fat, 22 grams of protein, 25.6 grams of carbohydrates, 7.5 grams of sugar, and 48.8 grams of cholesterol. Our cost per serving breakdown, according to the Food Costs Guide, is just over $1 per serving. Not a bad price. That's a pretty good meal just about everyone will enjoy. Bon appetit, and thanks for watching.
All right now, from what we've seen in the film and talked about, can someone give me the definition of a commutator? Sharon, give me your definition.
Just look at that plate. Splash it on. No time to waste. Eat slowly and chew thoroughly. Think you know now about good eating habits? More good, healthful food